Good morning. My name's Samuel M. Sperling. I'm a retired city employee. I'm a concerned American citizen, and I have a statement that I'd like to read for you for your consideration. I'd like also to introduce my partners and my guests. First, Bob Cutler, and Bob and I worked together for a long time. Rudy, my memory's so bad. Rudy Tarango and his wife Betty, my wife Amy, and her son Jeff. And that constitutes our audience at this time. So welcome, and let me begin. And I'm going to have to read this carefully. Imagine, if you will, that today is July the 1st in the year 2000. The city's new charter becomes effective today, and Mayor Reardon has only 1 year left of his second term. But based on his first 7 years, one could be sure he will not enforce any provision of the new charter that has to do with the Board of Civil Service Commissioners. At this point in his career, Mayor Reardon has already been violating Section 541 of the new charter. That's the section which empowers the board to make and enforce the civil service rules, to oversee the civil service system, and to investigate rule violations. By refusing to acknowledge these two provisions, Mayor Reardon raised a number of important questions, including the following. If the board is not allowed to make and enforce civil service rules, who will discharge that duty? If the board is not allowed to investigate rule violations, who will maintain accountability in the city organization? And thirdly, if the board is not allowed to oversee the city's civil service system, who will protect the people? Who will protect the people's right to clean, honest government? Today, with the experience we've had under 3 mayors, we know how those questions are answered. Powers legally vested in the board are illegally grabbed by the mayor, and certain employment-related duties assigned to the board are grabbed by the City Council's Personnel Committee. Yet, it seems really foolish the way this arrangement works, expecting the mayor, whoever he or she may be, to protect the people's interest to clean government, is almost as rational as expecting the fox to guard the henhouse, and making the Personnel Committee responsible for productivity and staffing in city agencies is absolutely inconsistent with Charter Section 242. By trampling Charter Sections 541 and 1019, Mayor Reardon degraded civil service in Los Angeles. And by changing the charter without a vote of the electorate, he violated America's highest value, the rule of law. In America, we like to say, no one is above the law. But that doesn't apply to City Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, the simple truth is the Board of Civil Service Commissioners in Los Angeles has been hijacked. Increasingly, civil service is being deregulated and politicized. Clearly, this is unacceptable. It must be exposed. Angelenos must be told about this outrageous situation. And now, let me turn to a second and a related problem in city government: the mismanagement of human resources. Consider this chart. This chart, you may have received this in the mail, indicates that in this fiscal year, the city will spend $7 billion for the total budget. Of that amount, $4.2 billion, 60%, will go for employees. It'll pay for salaries, for retirements and pensions, and for human resources benefits. $4.2 billion. That's a lot of money, but big organizations typically spend a lot of money for people, so that's not in itself unusual. This chart shows that of the 39 departments that are called budgetary departments in city government, these departments spend 84% of their total appropriation. The whole amount that they get from the mayor and the council every year goes for salaries. And this chart shows that some large departments in the city, including the police department, the fire department, building and safety, and the Public Works Bureau of Engineering, spend over 90, up to 96% of their total appropriation for salaries. That suggests, it seems to me, that employees are important. That suggests the need for effective human resource management. If you understand that, you should run for mayor this next time out, because the people at City Hall seem not to understand it. And if we look at a rating form called PDAS-28, we can see quickly why the city's human resource management is so far behind, why it wastes such a ton of money. This is a rating form. It has 21 personal traits on the side, 10 more for supervisors. These traits are not defined. There are no standards by which supervisors can determine how neat or how thorough an employee is, or any of those things. So the net result is that the city's 6,800 supervisors, each one has to define those terms himself or herself. Each one has to decide what the standards are that the employee being rated can be marked or held accountable for. City departments use this rating form to rate all employees. They use it to rate clerks and carpenters, all on this form. They use this form to rate accountants and asphalt riggers. They use this form to rate mechanics and managers. Indeed, they use this form to rate the fitness of probation